7.3 made it back from its 900-mile journey, but not without some damage on the way. But that means it's getting a sweet upgrade that we're gonna install in just a minute. And wait till you see and hear the results. Even after its spurs of leaving me stranded, and its attempted murders of me by trying to throw me off the road with its messed up pitman arm, U-joints, and million front-end issues, I'm a lover and a forgiver, and decided to trust it to take me and my trailer 450 miles away to pick up a certain special gift for my dad, then tow that convertible vessel all the way home. And while it did make it back, that trip put some holes in my ship. Not that one though, this is New Hampshire and it's a 20-year-old truck, okay? I'll fix it. God. It all started 3 hours from home. I had just filled her up for the last time on my return trip when I heard a bang underneath the truck. I didn't want to film it or pay any attention to it, seeing as though I was so far from home. But the truck pushed on, and we made it back, seemingly unscathed. Nothing more came from the sound on the drive until I saw this. The exhaust rusted right off. The stress from the road trip must have been too much, and it just snapped the exhaust at its weakest, most rotten point. So my brother Ty and I pulled off the hanging tailpipe, what was left of it.
Wow, look at this thing.
And the damage was worse than I thought. Now, this isn't the stock exhaust. I don't know what brand it is, it's too corroded. But it is 4 inches. Me too. After all, I'm in New Hampshire. The truck started its life in New York, and then it came here, so clearly it's been in the salt. Now, I could just replace the tailpipe and try to salvage the rest of the exhaust, but it's really not in much better shape, and now going into winter, I'd be willing to bet this thing wouldn't even survive the winter. And, well, I want it to sound cooler. So I've decided to replace the whole exhaust system. So I went to the 7.3 forums where I've gotten lots of good input and some questionable input, and the overwhelming response in terms of exhaust was MBRP. Now, when I reached out to them and told them the story about my old exhaust and how on the trek to go get my dad's Cadillac, it didn't want to be friends with my truck anymore, well, they loved it and hooked me up with their top-tier exhaust. Their 4-inch T304 stainless steel turbo back exhaust that they guarantee won't ever rust and fall off the truck. It's from MBRP's Armor Pro series and made from the most durable material they offer, T304 stainless steel, which cannot rust. And it's exactly what I need on my truck that sees pretty extreme climates like snow and salt, meaning the rest of my truck may turn to dust, but at least the exhaust will still look great. Plus, it's got a lifetime warranty. I'll put a link for it below and use my code DRIVE10 for 10% off. Now it's time to get it on the truck. Your stickers. Oh, that's cool. And a lanyard. That's what I'm most excited about.
Make exhaust great again.
That's what I was saying.
Wow. That's awesome.
Look at how shiny this is. Oh, that's the downpipe. That must be the over axle. Muffler. And of course, the best part. Huge. Ooh,
oh, wow.
That's cool. The 5-inch polished tip. Look at that shine. That's gonna be cool. It's like Christmas morning. I don't have what I would call small hands, but look at that. Thing's huge. After I was done assaulting my exhaust tip, it's time to get the crusty old exhaust off the truck. And there's only one tool for the job. Even though there's really no point in saving this old setup, instead of just hacking the pieces up, I'm first cutting the exhaust clamps. And once the rustiest one's off, I think I'll attempt the next one with the impact, which, to my surprise, actually worked. I can't believe it's actually working. And of course, right after I said that, of course, jinxed myself. That's why I kept the saw close by, whom, in short order, got rid of the final 2 clamps. And now, they're all out. Whew. With the clamps all off, the exhaust should come off now.
No, I should be able to just pull this out.
But I forgot one thing.
Oops, I forgot about back here.
Forgot about this clamp, which is holding on for dear life, barely. Once I sliced the remaining hanger off, I'm now wiggling and pulling the exhaust back, thinking it would be that easy. And the more exotic noises I made, the less it moved. So I resorted to my favorite tool of intricacy, but it still wasn't budging. I was resorting to every idea I could muster up. And after wailing and wailing on it for what felt like days, I had an idea that came from the instructions that came with the new exhaust. All right, so none of that really wants to slide out that way. I've got a jack supporting the muffler so that all of this isn't just hanging down and putting a lot of pressure on. Well, I guess I don't care if it puts pressure on that, but I don't want it putting pressure up there on the clamp. And you can see this exhaust is not in great shape. So the next thing that we need to do before the transmission crossmember right here, we have to cut the downpipe. Cutting this here will allow us to actually get the downpipe down and out of there, and it'll also leave this section of the exhaust able to just be dropped and pulled out. So I fired up the Sawzall and started making our cut on the downpipe before the transmission crossmember. Until, of course, hell of a time for the battery to die. Suck. After putting in a new battery, I could continue our slicing. A long blade definitely helps with this, if you're gifted like that. And once I thought I was cut all the way through, come on, you. I kept twisting and wiggling the pipes to separate them, but no. What the hell is holding this thing on? So I put the blade up again to see if I could shred any remaining metal particles holding the pipe together. And I thought that'd do it, but as I wiggled and wiggled again, I realized I'm a liar.
It's not going down without a fight.
What are you stuck on?
Oh, I got it.
Oh, there it is. Oh, I win. I'm the champion. What the heck? Finally, I reigned victorious. The old exhaust is out. Well, I think for once in my life, the problem was my blade was too long. Time to tackle the downpipe. All right, now this part could be tricky because what we have to do, I need a step stool for like the first time in my life. We have to remove this V-band clamp so we can remove the downpipe. It's just off the turbo right there. But the problem that I'm having is my 11 millimeter deep socket, which is what that's supposed to be, just is not deep enough. It's not going on there. I've tried the different selection tools I have here and nothing's going on there. So what I think I'm gonna do is just trim that stud because it's really long. Just trim that and then hopefully I can get this socket on there. Because if not, I don't know. Let's hope this works. I'm gonna be careful here. Just cutting off a little bit. There's a lot of little items in this area that I can't hit with the Sawzall blade. So I've got to be extra careful here. Might be good there. Let's see. Perfect. Now that I could fit the socket on the nut, I loosened it up, and then, with the help of a pry bar, can pop the clamp right off. Now we do have to reuse that V-band clamp, so don't throw that thing away or break it. Now I'm pulling off the final piece of the old exhaust.
Downpipe is down.
With the downpipe out, we can get to the juicy part. All right, old exhaust is entirely out. Hopefully that was the most difficult portion of it, but now it's time to put in the new stuff. And it starts with the shiny new downpipe. I thread it up into place the same way I got the old one out. It helps to put the pipe backwards when you first send it up, and then twist it up into the right orientation. Once it's up, we can put back on the V-band clamp and lightly tighten it. Next on is the mid-pipe, which uses the factory rubber exhaust hanger. Then the 18-inch pipe slides into place over the mid-pipe. The next pieces of pipe are attached using the supplied hanger clamps, which we attach together. First is the single, then the dual. Now I'm cutting and removing the old dual exhaust hanger before our progress was halted for the night. Of course, now it's raining. Since it's not very fun to work out here while it's raining, even though we're under the bed, and it doesn't fit in the garage, it's too tall, I'm gonna at least try to back the bed in because that's really all we have left to work on. So we have to move this thing, which means we're gonna get to cold start it with just a downpipe. This thing's gonna sound wild. I did pull off the rest of the pipes that we mocked up. So again, we just have the downpipe lightly tightened down up there, which should create quite the racket when we go to start this thing. And quite the racket it did. It's gonna sound silent when I put the muffler on it. As I complained about my sore little ears, I backed the truck into the garage. As much of it as I could anyways. And now that we're mostly out of the weather, it's hammer time. Time to get this new exhaust complete on the truck. Now I'm just putting back on the pipes we put on yesterday evening in the same order. Now we're back to where we left off yesterday. Now we're skipping a section of pipe and moving to the tailpipe and muffler portion. It's for good reason, and I'll explain in just a minute. I'll feed the over-axle pipe, you guessed it, over the axle. Sounds simple, but my little brain fart here cost me quite some time, quite some oxygen on creative curse words. I mount up the dual hanger clamp and attempt to put the tailpipe into the over-axle pipe, but no matter how muscular I like to think I am, it would not go. And then I discovered my two mistakes.
Silly me.
I was trying to fit the tailpipe here on the inside there where it's sitting now, when it's actually supposed to go out here on the outside of the shock and near the spare tire, not inside of the shock. So I'm going to switch this around and then everything should line up. Again, just a silly little mistake that costed me a bit of time, but I pull out the over-axle pipe, position it in the right orientation, send it back up, and line it up with the dual hanger clamp, which I promptly took right back down in order to get the muffler positioned in, which took, again, way longer than it should, because I messed up a small detail yet again.
Finally sorted it out. So
The problem was I had this hanger clamp backwards. It's supposed to sit up like this, up in those hangers up there, but I had it backwards. And then every time I tried to hang the muffler into the tailpipe, it would slide out and fall out. So I believe this is the proper way to do it. I'm gonna put it up now and see. I flipped around the clamp hanger and, with the help of my brother Tyler, got the rear portion of the exhaust hung up in its hangers. Muffler, over-axle pipe, and the tailpipe. Definitely needed an extra set of hands for this part. Otherwise, I would have banged the crap out of the exhaust. That sounded wrong. But finally, the tailpipe, over-axle, and muffler are in place. Now it's time to cut our brand new exhaust. Now the last piece of the puzzle is one little cut. This last piece of pipe here is pre-cut at 34 inches for the trucks that have a 172-inch wheelbase. That's obviously a long bed. I've got the crew cab short bed, so mine's 156 inches, I believe. So that means all we have to do now is measure the distance right there between those two pipes. That's why we hung up the muffler and the tailpipe and the last extension pipe like that. So we can measure and get exactly the right size pipe we need to button up this exhaust. Now, I'm definitely not the brightest bulb in the chandelier, and every exhaust, depending how stuff is angled and hanging, might be a few inches different. But my first measurements are around 19 inches. This is to take account for the areas that are going to slip over and in other pipes. we gotta leave room for the overhang. So I measure and mark on the pipe. Remember, you can always cut it shorter. You can't make it grow bigger. Easily anyways. I'm measuring and marking all around the pipe so I can draw a line around so our cut is straight. Then using towels to protect the finish of the pipe, I gently, emphasis on gently, tighten the vise around the pipe. Tighten it too much and you'll oval the pipe and have a really bad day. Then, with a good blade, I make the cut. With our extension pipe cut, I could test fit it under the truck. It was actually still a touch too long, for once, and now I'm trimming it down a tad more. Once it fits how I like it, I take all the pipes off, move the clamps into the same orientation because I'm OCD, align and assemble all the pipes from the downpipe to the tailpipe, and tighten down all the clamps. Starting with the V-band clamp at the turbo and working our way backwards. Adjusting the orientation of things as we move our way back to the tailpipe. And then it's done. Almost. All right, everything is tightened up. Final touch. I'm gonna wait to put the tip on. I want to start it up and see what it sounds like and make sure that everything is tight and I've got no rattles or anything. Very important. Here we go. Right off the bat, it seems so quiet because the last time it ran, we had nothing but a downpipe on it. I like where this tip sits on the truck though. It's gonna look even better when we put that tip on there. Oh, I think we might hear a high idle. I'm asphyxiating myself. Oh. But you also in the backdrop get like a really deep rumble. That's wild. And now it's time for the piece de la resistance, or whatever the French people say. The tip. Except the French have never seen a 5-inch exhaust tip. And it goes on simple. Slide it on and tighten the bolts at the top. And then you can adjust it how you please. Mine stuck out a bit further than I wanted, so I just measure how much further in I want the tip to sit, drew a line, and with the help of Tyler again, trimmed a bit off the tailpipe extension pipe. Then slid on the tip, tightened the Allen bolt at the top, and the exhaust is on. And it looks incredible. But how's it really sound out in the wild? Already from the high idle, you can hear the turbo more. And away we go, first pull. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Oh, I'm gonna go through so much more fuel now that I have this exhaust. It's deeper. It's definitely got a deeper tone to it. Not a majorly deeper tone, but just enough to sound phenomenal. It sounds like what a 7.3 should sound like. Oh yes. With the muffler on there, it feels more powerful to me. When I had to start it up and move it to get it in the garage, when it just had the downpipe on it and nothing else, it almost felt like the throttle wasn't working right or as responsive. The exhaust was too free-flowing. There was no back pressure, whereas now, oh, it feels so much torquier now, and I love it. And the throttle feels 1,000 times better. Oh yeah. Well, I'm extremely happy with it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. Now I just gotta put some miles on the truck for a bit, and then double check everything's nice and tight. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you to MBRP for partnering up with me and sending me this exhaust. It's crazy that I get the opportunity to work with companies like them. So guys, support those who support me. Go check them out, and their Black Friday sale is going on as we speak. Make sure you check the date of when this video's up. But you can use my code down in the description below for a discount. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, MBRP. I'll see you guys in the next one. Happy motoring and happy Thanksgiving.